Hi, good afternoon. How are you?
Hello, good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you so much for asking. And I'm super excited for this session today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So glad to
Mm.
meet you.
Same here. And how's your day been going?
I've just had a couple of meetings. It's been good.
Okay, great. So since we are meeting for the very first time, so first I would love to know about yourself. And can you just give your short introduction for me and for my audience?
Sure. I'm the head of design at Spark Studio. I have 9 years of education background, and I was born in Delhi, brought up in Muscat. So I think since then I've just been working. Yeah.
Okay. So you born in Delhi and brought up in Muscat. Okay. So did you
Yeah.
shift entirely there?
Yeah, so my major schooling until 12th before I came to India for my engineering.
Oh, okay.
I've done in Muscat itself, yes.
Something different. I think entirely different story maybe behind it. Okay.
Yeah,
We'll
so
discuss
that
further.
switch was a bit different story. I mean, I had to do a whole language switch as well.
And that is major
Yeah.
part. When we shift entirely in a different country, then everything changes, the culture, the language, the people. So it
Yeah,
affects a lot. Hmm.
yeah,
Okay, so
definitely.
before we proceed further, let me introduce myself too. So I am Rajni Varma. I was born and brought up only in Shri Ganganagar. But yeah, I have done my graduation in Korean language from JNU New Delhi. So I was there around for 3 years. Yes, and currently I am a YouTuber and I work independently. I just provide paid sessions to beginners and to intermediates, as I call myself an intermediate learner of the language, and I'm just trying to become the advanced one. That's just aim for me. And apart from that, if I talk about my hobbies, majorly I take keen interest in reading books and talking to people, interacting with them from different backgrounds, because I want to know the perception of people towards everything. Yeah, so that's
That's wonderful. How did you come to decide this? Like, how did you want to decide this? Like,
decide
you
what,
be a
like
YouTuber?
YouTube.
Yeah.
it was uh it was undecided, I must say. Like, I believe in the universe and I just started learning the language. Gradually it has improved, and people showed some interest in learning the language, and they found that they are quite comfortable with me when I teach them. So that's how it started. Majorly girls and majorly housewives who are striving to start something on their own or do a job, and they are like lacking in the language skills or the communication skills. So they feel comfortable with me, and like that I found my passion. While teaching, I also enjoy a lot. That is what I connect,
Amazing.
and that is why I think I enjoy a lot. Yes.
Very cool. Nice.
Hmm. Yeah. So can you just throw some light a little bit, or can you just depict a bit about your journey? How did you learn English? Because as you mentioned that you from Delhi to Muscat you shifted, so maybe it was really difficult for you to learn the language.
Yeah. I mean, it quite took a toll on me because in Delhi, the kind of atmosphere, the ecosystem that was created was my parents spoke in Hindi, my friends spoke in Hindi, my school teachers, classmates, tuition, everywhere, I mean, my subjects were in Hindi. So there was no way for me to adjust to a whole different atmosphere where it seemed like alien planet, right? Like I'm put in an atmosphere where everyone is speaking in English and
Hmm.
every conversation. I mean, classes happening is one way. I totally understand that. But now even the classmates and tuition mates, everywhere you interact outside is also happening in English. Right. So even small interactions outside of even recess time or just like break times or PT or going to the clinic or health department, all of that is also happening. And I'm having so much difficulties just like being able to communicate like the most basic day-to-day stuff.
Hmm.
And it took a real toll on me. So it had to really be, I really took it on upon myself that I have to fix this. And
Hmm.
it was the eyes, the way they start looking down on you and how you feel like lesser of yourself. So I think at that point, if I had something like Sparky, and if I had some kind of non-judgmental space and a safe space to, just practice it. Practice is, I think, everything. Because at that point, I didn't have a crutch. I didn't have anyone around me to speak in Hindi with, or somebody to tell me that, you could use this word to maybe this
Hmm.
is the actual translation for this word. So you had to act because everyone around me majorly were Keralites and their English was too good, just way too good. Right. And they also didn't know Hindi as well. So I had to just like deal with it. There was no other way. So over time, I think just reading more books, relying on dictionary, coming back home and like asking dad about this word, that word, or like, there was this like rapid English book,
Hmm.
I think those early days. So I think
Yeah.
when we had moved around third standard also, I would just come back home after my studies, spend some like 15-20 minutes on dictionary and also on rapid book as well.
Hmm.
And yeah, over time, spending more and more time because it was also, there was no crutch for me to fall back on my native language. It was me practicing with them
Hmm.
day in and day out. It was school, tuition, extracurriculars, everywhere. So the more
Hmm.
time, even if it felt bad, even if they looked down on me, even if they were judgmental, over time, by the next year, I was already like taking part in recitation, debates, essay writing. I was doing better than half of the class. Like, and by next to next year, like teachers were giving examples of me in other classes.
Wow.
This girl, like she came from Delhi who couldn't speak, and now,
Hmm.
like she is being doing better than rest of the class. So it was really a ego boost as well. But it
Hmm.
it it drove me to that. Like I had to do it because of the pressure. It was the
You didn't
environment was
have
creating for me.
option.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
didn't have option also as well.
It means you were forced into the ecosystem where you cannot select anything else than learning the
Yeah,
language, then, adapting it
definitely.
wholeheartedly. Hmm, great. And yeah, I can totally resonate with the thing which feels, which people make us like, we can say alienated. Alienated. Yeah. Yeah. They
Yeah,
make us feel like if we are not able to interact properly, especially in English, then yes, it creates a kind of fear and demotivates at the same time. And if you are confident, still it somewhere affects a lot. Yeah. Okay. So,
definitely.
as you mentioned that about the Spark Studio and Sparky, which helped
Yeah.
you personally to achieve this fluency and become good at English. So I know a bit about it, but as now I think in last month around 2000 people have joined recently, like have subscribed to my channel. So they
Yeah.
don't have any idea about it. And at the same time, many people send me emails every single day that they want something which can help them, at the same time which do not just judge them, and which can provide the feedback too, because many people I know interact with each other but they don't get the right feedback at the right moment and the right guidance, which is again lacking. And at the same time, if they go for the tutors, then they are sometimes not able to afford them, right? So just for them, I want you to elaborate a bit about Sparky.
Definitely. I think Sparky, and before I speak about Sparky, let's talk about the purpose. So, learning, maybe you think about learning as a goal. Why do you want to learn English? Like,
Hmm.
think of it as a skill that you're learning any other skill, right? For example, you're learning swimming. You get comfortable first in the water, that you
Hmm.
get start getting into techniques later. Right.
Hmm.
So even with, I think, English as well, it's the same thing. First, you find a companion who you can, practice with, and all of the techniques and all of vocabulary, grammar, all of the things come later. So if you look at
Hmm.
Indian market right now, only 6% is actually able to speak fluently. And most of them, the problem is probably that they don't have a companion to speak to.
Hmm.
They consume content online. They have everything, newspapers, they have books, they have podcasts, they have movies, entertainment, everything is available. But it's just one sided. They're just consuming content. They have reels, whatnot, everything is available, right? But if there is something where they can do a back and forth conversation, and it's a
Hmm.
safe, non-judgmental space where, they're building their, and it's a space where the person is also talking of a similar topic with them where they are interested, right? Sometimes maybe you find people where they're talking about political issues you are not interested in, or you are talking about like social issues that you don't know about much. So
Hmm.
Sparky can talk about whatever you are interested in, and over time you will start building on things, and you will also expand your vocabulary, you will expand your grammar, and features we can talk about that, that is help, that is feedback, or there is pacing, accent. All of these things are crutches that you can rely on in the early days. But I
Hmm.
think as you progress further, you won't even need these features, right? These are so that they help you in the early days when you don't know, okay, first time I'm not sure what sentence should I send right now. So just
Hmm.
use help for now. That's okay. And don't feel
Hmm.
bad about it. That's all right. But over time you'll know, okay, I can use this, but now I know next time what I can say. And maybe
Hmm.
by the 10th or 15th day, you are telling Sparky that, hey, this is a better sentence. Like imagine you might reach
Yeah.
that stage, right?
Hmm.
So it's just,
Absolutely.
I think definitely just keep practicing and keep at it.
Hmm. So over time, it gets accumulated if you are learning it uh, in any other application or maybe. And one more thing that you mentioned or highlighted here, like people are consuming content and that is one-sided. And that is why they are not able to see actual the conspicuous changes or improvement in themselves. Hmm.
Definitely.
Okay. I also recently, I do writing practices also with the group of people. I feel like in order to become advanced now, I should focus on the writing part too. So there, somebody one day suggested a topic which was throw some light on idealism and then realism. Yes. So that was a little difficult for me too. Like I never much thought about it, I must say. Later I got to know, and then I thought to just search on Sparky and maybe I'll get some ideas and how to speak on the topic. So like this, if somebody come across such topics which they don't have knowledge of, they can just search and they can have knowledge and they can even get to know how to express in a well manner using different words, right? So can we see a
Right.
demo too?
Yes, yes, definitely. One thing would be dictionary, that any conversation that you have, you can click at that chat bubble and you'll be able to see it in many different languages. So if you have difficulty, you can see it in your native language as well. And Sparky would be able to, show you different meanings and show you the different context that word that comes from. So it'll show
Hmm.
you like, okay, for example, date. Date can come in context of date, today's date, or two people going on a date, or the fruit date that you eat, right? So there's so
Hmm.
much context that a certain word comes from, and you have to think about that is as a sentence is made, but how do I use it in different context as well? So
Hmm.
think about those things as well. So that's dictionary feature.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, I've already spoken about, I think, hint, and you
Hmm.
can also change the pace, you can change the speed. So all of
Hmm.
that which you can't do, I think, with a human friend.
Yes. Okay. So I think as you guys are working on Sparky and as you have, I think, mentioned almost all the features in it, which people can leverage for learning the language. And it is great that they learn in the context properly because otherwise, what happens, people just mug up the meaning of a word, and when they get the same word in the different context, they are like they try to relate the meaning with the context and they are
Yeah.
unable to do that. So that is
Yeah.
again essential to learn with the in the context properly. And it shows that you have actually observed thoroughly people, like what kind of challenges they come across while learning the language, and how they can actually get the solution in Sparky. So it is kind of a, we can say, a full package where people can learn the words and the pronunciation, reading, and all those. Okay. Yes. So now I would like to discuss about one thing, which is like when you were learning the language, so you must also experienced the plateau situation being an intermediate, right? So I want to know that how did you overcome that once?
Maybe you're talking about like stages of learning. So first is usually how a child learns is by first listening.
So you can say
And
from
then,
how did you become intermediate to advanced? Like how did you achieve the advanced level?
okay, okay. So I will first talk about beginner level usually is around when people listen and consume,
Mm-hmm.
and intermediate is when they're able to form basic sentences, and then the next level would be being able to have better grammar and improve their vocabulary. And then by the time you reach advanced, you're able to talk about varied kind of topics.
How much grammar is essential to speak English fluently and confidently?
I think for starters, we shouldn't be focusing on grammar or vocabulary as much.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get too focused on technicality a lot, you get, I think it becomes very mechanical.
Mm,
So you lose the essence of the language as well. So
mm,
if you're just learning the language, it's almost like when we learn in school, and the way Indian system is also designed, we memorize, we do this ratification, right? So
mm,
it's not fun, and you only learn by using the language. The fluency is going to build as much as you practice it. So just do the basic practicing with your companion, talking to your friends, your family. Maybe there is a
mm,
certain time that you set every day in your day-to-day life, like okay, 15 minutes every day I'm going to set it, that I don't use my native language as a crutch. But no offense to your native language, it's just that I set my own goal for myself. Like whatever that goal
mm,
might be, that I want to be more confident. So every day for 15 minutes, I'm going to practice in my native language, in my English language.
mm,
Okay. And I think you will see the improvement over time. And once you've cleared that beginner level, then you can start working on your grammar, your vocabulary. And by the time then you reach your advanced level, you'll be able to open up to a lot more like advanced level topics. You'll start maybe open up to more books that you haven't
mm,
explored, and newspapers, podcasts. You can start doing all of that much later. But I think if you do that in your beginner phase, it's restricting your learning as well. It's just one-sided learning.
mm. Yes, that's great. And speaking is again very essential to get a partner, or like they can use Sparky and they should every single day. Like consistency matters the most. Like you should every single day come and squeeze 15 minutes out of your busy schedule, and you should speak. If you don't feel comfortable, then yes, of course, there is a buddy in Sparky where you can talk. And if you are comfortable, then it's your choice, whatever you want to do. And can you just tell me how reading can actually help in getting the fluency and then becoming like the efficiency, fluency and efficiency both in English? Reading.
Reading is definitely important. I mean, it builds vocabulary, and
Mm,
on day-to-day basis, if you're reading, it it's one learning like how sentences are built. And I think fluency, we shouldn't focus on fluency, will build once you start practicing as well. You speak more sentences with your friends, it'll start building. You start using the language, it'll build. But reading newspapers or reading books or reading articles, it'll just, I think, add to your knowledge of different topics around the world, and your vocabulary as well, your writing skills as well.
mm. So when you were
Yeah.
learning the language, do you read out loud, especially for grabbing all those words, sentence structure, and the pronunciation?
I think everybody's learning style is quite different. I read it
Hmm.
internally, but I have quite a lot of friends who read aloud as well. So,
Hmm.
and that's also one thing I've noticed, that some people, they compare it with friends and say, hey, this friend learned it in 5 months. Why am I not at that level with this friend? Or, I have been learning for 2 years, but I have not reached that level. Don't worry about that, because everybody's learning pace, learning style. It's very different. And everybody
Hmm.
comes from a different background as well. So how you learn and how they learn, maybe they learn maths very slow, but you are like so quick with maths. You don't need a paper, you do a mental maths, right? You are
Hmm.
better in something else, they are not that good. So don't do comparison of a certain specific thing, right?
Hmm.
Just continue your learning and figure out what works for you better. Okay, just do the different things that we've spoken about. And with Sparky, what it is you have the two options. You have speak, you also have the typing, you also have the reading style. So there is a story that's given to you. You can read it aloud, and it does the highlighting with green and right, where it tells you if you've done the correct pronunciation. So you'll also know over time how you're improving that pronunciation. Right. So
Hmm.
all of these are small, small things, that there are games where you're also improving your vocabulary, like words you'll come up with over time, you'll understand. So this is a slow process, but if you keep at it, I think every day, just keep a consistent time with yourself,
Hmm.
that whatever it might be. Like every day at 8 o'clock, I'll sit for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes. That's your like goal, right? But
Hmm.
do it at least consistently.
Yeah. Everyone's approach can differ, but the consistency is like everyone must have to
Yeah,
follow, right?
definitely.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Great. Okay, then now I think we should wind this session up right here. Thank you so much for coming along and for sharing the insights with us. It was really lovely talking to you.
Thank you so much. It was really nice talking to you.
Yeah. Bye bye. Have a great day ahead.
You too. Take care.
You too.